You wake up coughing, not the kind of cough you ignore, the kind that burns your chest, like something's tearing you apart from the inside. The room smells wrong, rotten, sour, like something has been left too long in the heat. You sit up, and that's when you hear it. Scratching, soft at first, then loud. Rats, moving through the walls, across the floor, somewhere in the dark just out of sight. You hold your breath, listening. Outside nothing sounds normal. The streets, once loud with voices and movement, are strangely quiet, but not empty. Every so often footsteps rush past. A door slams. Somewhere in the distance, someone cries out. People aren't living like they used to anymore. Most are hiding inside, sick, or trying not to become sick. You know one thing instantly. Something is very, very wrong. You're in Europe, the year is 1348, and something has arrived that no one understands. It didn't start here. Years before, far to the east in China, the disease began spreading along trade routes, carried by merchants, travelers, and something much smaller, fleas. Fleas living on black rats that traveled on ships and caravans. From Asia it moved west, reaching the Black Sea, then into Europe through trading ports like Messina and Sicily. Ships arrived filled with cargo and death. Sailors were already sick, some were already dead. But it was too late. The disease had already spread. From port cities it moved fast. Italy, France, Spain, England, then deeper into Europe. Village by village, town by town. There was no stopping it. People didn't know about bacteria. They didn't understand infection. Some believed it was punishment from God. Others blamed the air. Some blamed each other. And while they argued, the plague kept spreading. At first, it feels like a fever. You're tired, cold, then burning hot. Your head pounds. Your body aches, like you've been beaten. Then it gets worse. You feel something under your skin. Painful, swollen. You look down, and there they are. Large, dark lumps, bubbles on your neck, your armpits, your groin. They grow, they throb, they turn black. Your skin begins to darken in patches. Your body is failing. Some people start vomiting, others cough blood. Some lose their minds entirely. The streets are no longer safe, not because of crime, but because of disease. Bodies lie in homes for days. Families lock themselves inside, hoping it won't reach them. Some towns try quarantines, keeping ships isolated for 40 days. Others flee into the countryside, but it doesn't matter. The plague follows. Cities grow quieter, but not completely silent. There are still people moving, desperate, afraid, trying to survive. Shops close, food becomes scarce, and everywhere there's fear. Doctors didn't understand the cause, but they tried. Some wore long robes and strange masks filled with herbs, believing it would protect them from the bad air. They used treatments like bloodletting, cutting a patient's vein, or using tools like lancets or leeches to drain blood, based on the belief that illness came from an imbalance of bodily fluids. Burning herbs or incense, placing a strong-smelling substance near the sick, none of it worked. Some doctors refused to treat patients at all. Others stayed and died alongside them. The deaths didn't come slowly, they came in waves. In some places, half the population was gone. In Europe alone, an estimated 25 to 50 million people died. That's about one-third, maybe even half of the entire population at the time. In some villages, everyone died. No one left to bury the bodies. Mass graves were dug. Carts moved through the streets collecting the dead. Sometimes people were thrown into pits while still barely alive. The system couldn't keep up. Deaths became normal. If you caught the plague, your chances weren't good. For the most common form, the bubonic plague, death rates could reach 60 to 70%. Other forms like pneumonic plague were even worse. Almost no one survived that version. If you lived, it wasn't because of medicine, it was luck. As more people died, society began to collapse. Work stopped, farms were abandoned. There weren't even enough workers left. Laws lost meaning. Some people turned to religion, praying constantly, hoping for forgiveness. Others gave up completely. There were even groups who punished themselves, whipping their own bodies, believing their suffering would save them. Fear turned into blame. Certain groups were wrongly accused of causing the plague. Violence followed, all while the real cause remained invisible. Even the wealthy weren't safe. Kings, nobles, priests, many died just like everyone else. The Italian writer Giovanni Boccaccio witnessed the plague in Florence and wrote about it in the Decameron, describing how people reacted, some isolating themselves, others living recklessly as if nothing mattered anymore. Doctors, scholars, and leaders all faced the same truth. No one was in control. Eventually, it slowed, not because people stopped it, but because there were fewer people left to infect. When it was over, the world had changed. Entire families were gone, entire towns empty, but something else changed too. With fewer workers, survivors could demand better wages. The old systems began to crack out of the devastation. A new world slowly began to form. It started with a cough, a fever, something small, unseen, and within a few years it reshaped the world. The Black Plague wasn't just a disease, it was fear. It was confusion. It was humanity facing something it didn't understand, and losing millions in the process, because sometimes the most dangerous things in history are the ones no one can see.